So hello and welcome back all students to another video tutorial from Genome Biotech, and as always I'm your host Dr. Nitin Wahi. In this lecture we will be talking about the two different categories of proteins. One is referred to as the simple protein, another one is called as the conjugated protein. Now what do you mean by simple protein? What do you mean by conjugated proteins? How does the two proteins molecules differs from each other? That we will be visualizing. That how does this conjugated protein and this the other protein that is referred to as simple protein, how does these two proteins differ from each other, and what are the similarities in between the simple protein and conjugated protein? What is a prosthetic group? What is an apoprotein? Now see, the proteins can be classified into two different types on the basis of their structural composition. The proteins can be classified. So basically this is the classification of protein on the basis of its structural composition. So okay, so this is structural composition classification of protein. Structural composition classification of protein. Classification of proteins. Okay, so that you can visualize. Now see, this proteins have been classified into two different types, the simple type and the conjugated type. So first is simple, another protein which is present is referred to as conjugated. Now simple protein is such as serum, albumin contain only amino acid residue. So simple protein is just a protein which is consisting of amino acid residue joined together with the help of peptide bond. So if there are amino acid residues and they are joined together with the help of peptide bond, then they lead to the formation of simple proteins. Okay, now what do you mean by conjugated protein? Conjugated proteins on the other hand is a simple protein combined with a non-protein part. When there is a simple protein and as this simple protein is combined with a non-protein part, then such type of protein which is being produced is referred to as a conjugated protein. Okay, the non-protein part which is present in these proteins is referred to as prosthetic group. Okay, so there is a non-protein part which is present. This is very important. Now this protein consists of a protein part and a non-protein part. Such type of proteins are called as conjugated protein. Okay, so conjugated protein consists of the protein part that would be referred to as, just a second, the non-protein part would be referred to as the prosthetic group. A conjugated protein without its prosthetic group is called as apoprotein. So this apoprotein consists of that part of the protein which consists of only protein component. Now see, this conjugated protein minus prosthetic group equal to apoprotein, and the part that is made up of non-protein part is the prosthetic group. So what we can write here is that you can equate the conjugated protein as, you can write the conjugated protein as, see, conjugated protein can be written as, conjugated protein can be written as equal to apoprotein, which is only the protein part, plus prosthetic group. So this is how conjugated proteins are being produced. This is how the conjugated proteins are being made. A protein molecule combined with its prosthetic group is referred to as a holoprotein. Okay, when both these groups are present, then it is referred to as holoprotein. Now look here, for example, glycoprotein contain carbohydrate component. Lipoprotein, when carbohydrate along with protein is present, it is called glycoprotein. When lipid along with protein is present, it is called as lipoprotein. When metal ion along with protein is present, it is called as metalloprotein. Okay, so these are the different types of proteins which are present. Now moving forward, there are several different examples of the conjugated proteins. Okay, those conjugated proteins are glycoprotein, fibronectin, proteoglycans, lipoproteins, chylomicron, HDL, LDL. So there are several different examples of the conjugated proteins which constitute the structure of protein. Now there is another one, fibrous and globular protein. Now what do you mean by fibrous protein and what do you mean by globular protein? How the structure of the fibrous protein and globular protein is different from each other. So we would be looking towards this fibrous protein and globular protein, that which are these different types of protein, what is the basic difference between the fibrous protein as well as the globular protein, and how to differentiate between the fibrous protein and the globular protein. Just a minute. Hello. So conjugated proteins are only holoproteins? Yeah, a holoprotein consists of an apoprotein and a non-apoprotein part. So basically conjugated proteins are holoproteins in nature. Okay, so see, now this conjugated protein, when it is present in its complete form, then only it is called as holoprotein. Okay, conjugated protein को आप holoprotein जब ही कह सकते हो जब वो full form में present होगी, otherwise आप उसे holoprotein नहीं कह पाओगे. Okay, so that's very important. Okay, you were visualizing this part only. Okay, just a minute. Okay, okay, thank you. Now we will be talking about the two basic types of protein. One is referred to as the fibrous protein and globular protein. Now fibrous protein and globular protein being a very important topic, we would have to focus upon Lippincott, because in this part of the book, the fibrous protein and globular proteins are very beautifully described, that what are the basic two different types of proteins which are present, the fibrous and the globular protein. Okay, now please listen to this. Now this is fibrous protein. So we basically first we would be talking about the fibrous protein. What is a fibrous protein? Then we would be talking about the globular protein. Okay. So fibrous protein. Now fibrous proteins are the one which induce fiber-like structure. These proteins have fiber-like structure. For example, if there is a protein molecule, if this is a protein molecule, okay, there is another protein molecule. See, this is not the structure of DNA. This is the protein molecule. There can be a third protein. Okay, moving in this particular manner. So this is how the three protein strands are being entangled with regard to each other and forms a fiber-like structure. It leads to the formation of a fiber-like structure. So fibrous proteins always lead to the formation of fiber-like structures. These proteins have fiber-like structures. These proteins have fiber-like structures. Okay, so that is why they are referred to as fibrous protein in nature. That is why they are called as fibrous protein in nature. Now because these proteins have fiber-like structures present within itself, that is why these proteins perform several different functions. Now first, the most abundant extracellular protein which is present in vertebrate. दुनिया में सबसे ज्यादा पाई जाने वाली प्रोटीन कौन सी है vertebrate के अंदर? The most abundant extracellular protein which is present in vertebrates is collagen. Collagen is the most abundant extracellular protein which is present in the case of vertebrates. Okay, the second most abundant extracellular protein present in vertebrates is elastin. If you can feel the collagen, you just put your hand over your ears, आपके कानों पे जो स्ट्रक्चर है ना, जो यहाँ पर कार्टिलेज है, कार्टिलेज के ऊपर क्या है? कोलाजन है. Okay, I just switch on the video. On the video you can find me. See this part of the ear, this is cartilage. This is referred to as the muscles. Okay, simple muscles. This part is referred to as the cartilage. And now if you are a non-vegetarian, you can recognize cartilage very effectively. If you would have taken the bite from the chicken, then you can recognize that in the chicken there are white colored structures, caps present over the bone. Those are referred to as cartilages, and those are referred to as cartilages. Okay, so these are cartilages. Basically this hard part is referred to as cartilage. Okay, now this part, you are going to move your ears like this, then you can feel that this structure is not being distorted. Its structure is being regained with the help of a protein that is referred to as collagen. Now where is collagen present? Look at my hand. This is my hand. Where is collagen present? Collagen is present here. You just try to move your skin right and left, then what you feel is that there is bony skull which is present beneath, and there would be, when you would be pressing it out, you can find that there would be certain blood vesicles. Between those blood vesicles, what is present? Collagen is present. So basically here also on your palm you can feel that there is soft tissue which is present, and your skin is moving over the layer of collagen. Okay, so this is the collagen which is present in your body. Now turn off the video and try to focus upon the theory part. Okay, now you can look here. Each fibrous protein exhibits mechanical properties resulting from its unique structure, which are obtained by combining several amino acids into regular secondary structure element. So actually each and every fibrous protein, whatever is present, whatever fibrous protein is going to be present, this fibrous protein has certain specialized mechanical properties within itself. Each fibrous protein has certain mechanical property within itself. Because of the presence of this mechanical property in the case of fibrous protein, these fibrous protein acquire unique structure and thus perform specific functions in the body. Okay, now moving forward, now see, we would be talking about the structure of collagen, that what is collagen. So basically speaking, collagen is the most abundant protein in the human body. See, the most abundant protein which is present in the case of vertebrates is collagen only. Okay, just a second, I must delete this annotation. Okay, deleting the annotation. Okay, so this is the most abundant protein which is present in the human body. It consists of three polypeptide. A typical collagen is a long rigid structure which consists of three polypeptides, and these polypeptides are referred to as the three alpha chains which are present. Okay, so we will be talking about the fibrous protein and finishing collagen here only. Okay, collagen, how, what is the function of the collagen? Okay, in other tissue, collagen may be bundled in tight parallel fibers that provide great strength as in tendons, so they constitute the कंपोनेंट ऑफ इंपॉर्टेंट टिश्यूज सच एज टेंडन. आप लोगों को पता होगा एक लिगामेंट होता था, एक टेंडन होता था. ठीक है, लिगामेंट क्या करता था, बोन को मसल से जोड़ता था, टेंडन मसल को मसल से जोड़ता था. कोलाजन of bone occurs as fiber arranged at an angle to each other so as to resist mechanical shear from any direction. तो कोलाजन जो बोन के अंदर प्रेजेंट होता है, दिस कोलाजन इज आल्सो इफेक्टिव इन प्रोटेक्टिंग द बोन एंड प्रिवेंट बोन ब्रेकेज. टाइप्स ऑफ कोलाजन, 25 से ज्यादा टाइप के कोलाजन नोटेड हैं. ठीक है, अब ये कोलाजन क्या बनाते हैं, कोलाजन कैसे बनता है, ये देखने की कोशिश करें. This is the collagen molecule. How does collagen molecules are being produced? Collagen consists of 3 amino acid residue repeated n number of times, and those 3 amino acid residues are glycine X and Y, where X is proline and Y is hydroxyproline, and it consists of 3 left-handed alpha helical chains rotated in right-handed direction with regard to each other. Everything is given in Pathfinder. So let us move at Pathfinder. Now, fibrous protein, basically the difference what is being shown here is fibrous proteins are long rod-shaped molecule. You have seen these are long elongated rod-shaped structure which are present that are insoluble in water and physically tough. I have already told you that fibrous proteins are water insoluble. They cannot dissolve in water and they are quite tough in nature. Okay, so these fibrous proteins are found at the exterior surface of the body in the form of keratin, which is found in the nails, skin, hairs, hooves, etc. Now there are globular proteins which are present. Now after this fibrous protein, there is another protein that is present, that is referred to as globular protein. Now globular protein could be understood as three-dimensional circular protein. Now see, this is the type of globular protein which is present. Okay, this is the type of protein that would be globular. Now in the case of globular protein, there would be areas that where the polar amino acid will be exposed, and these are the areas where hydrogen bonding is going to take place. Here hydrogen bonds is going to be produced, here, 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 and here. So everywhere there are charged amino acid residue exposed on the surface, which can lead to formation of hydrogen bonds, and thus these amino acid residues in the presence of globular proteins. The globular proteins are hydrophilic in nature. These are hydrophilic in nature, whereas others are hydrophobic. Now moving forward, in globular proteins, the nonpolar residue, valine, leucine, isoleucine, methionine, phenylalanine, rarely occurs in the interior of the protein. This is very important. In globular protein, the nonpolar residue rarely occurs in the interior of the protein, out of contrast with the aqueous solution. Largely occurs in the interior of the protein. So non-polar residues largely occur in the interior of the protein in the case of globular proteins. The charged polar amino acid residue, arginine, histidine, lysine, asparagine, glutamate, these are all charged amino acid residue. Charge means they are positively charged or they are negatively charged. You can easily say that arginine, histidine, and lysine are positively charged. They are basic amino acid residue. Aspartate and glutamate are negatively charged, but all of them are polar amino acid residue in nature. All of these are polar amino acid residue in nature, as these are polar amino acid residue in nature. So they are charged amino acid. They are located at the surface. They are located at the surface of the protein structure. Okay, as they are located at the surface of the protein structure, and thus they can get dissolved in the aqueous solution. These gets dissolved in the aqueous solution. क्योंकि देखो चार्ज अमीनो एसिड ग्लोबुलर प्रोटीन में ऊपर होते हैं और अनचार्ज अमीनो एसिड देखो इन ग्लोबुलर प्रोटीन द नॉन पोलर रेजिड्यू, क्या है नॉन पोलर, पोलर और नॉन पोलर बताया था ना बेटा, तो ये नॉन पोलर है, कोई चार्ज नहीं है इनके अंदर. They occurs in the interior of the protein. These non-polar amino acid residue occurs in the interior of the protein, and polar amino acid residue are on exterior side. This is what I was telling to you. This is what I was speaking to you. Then when you are, oh sorry, this is too large. Okay, then when you are going to draw the structure of protein, now see this is the structure of protein that I draw. Okay, and if this is a globular protein, it will lead to the formation of a highly compact structure with polar amino acid being exposed on its surface. The polar amino acids are being exposed, and thus it is water soluble in nature. Hopefully you would have understood. If there is any query of any type, you can ask me. किसी को कोई query है, you can ask me. Okay. Yes, Raj. There are two Yes Raj in the class. Okay, fine. Now, please look here. See, there are different types of many functions of the protein and their examples. There are several different functions of the protein. Which are the different functions of protein? Let us study the different functions of these proteins. For example, you can look here. Structural protein are always fibrous in nature. You have any extracellular protein, that will be always a fibrous protein. कोई भी cell के बाहर protein होगी, हाँ, the proteins that joins the two cells with regard to each other, they are always extracellular proteins in nature. Those proteins will be extracellular. Okay. Next is metabolism. Metabolic proteins, enzymes are a class of proteins that catalyze different reactions which are present in lysosomes, proteasomes. Now, how would be the structure of enzymes? Can anybody tell me whether these enzymes would be globular or these would be fibrous protein? Can you tell me which type of proteins will be enzymes? Hello, any student can tell me? Of course, dear students, enzymes will be a globular protein, never a fibrous one. Okay, why it would be a globular protein? Because this is going to be a globular protein because they are going to assume a three-dimensional structure, and that three-dimensional structure can only be assumed by globular protein. Membrane transporters. Now, membrane transporters can be fibrous in nature. They can also be globular. Okay, but they would be fibrous much more because the membrane is hydrophobic. When you are going to transverse the plasma membrane, then what has to be done? Then the molecules have to be transported across the plasma membrane. Now see, this type of molecule will be there. Now this protein will be able to transverse the plasma membrane only when it is made up of hydrophobic amino acid residues. So majority of the fibrous protein will be involved in this particular process. Sorry. Now, cell recognition, cell surface protein, these are the function of different types of protein. Not going into their details, we will be talking about them a lot, and when we would be talking about each of them. Now come that collagen where we were talking about. Now we will be talking about certain standard fibrous proteins. Now, which are the fibrous proteins that we are going to talk about? We are going to talk about certain fibrous protein, and the fibrous protein that we are going to talk about in this class is referred to as the collagen. Now, what is the function of collagen and how this collagen protein is going to work? That has to be seen. Now, see, collagen is the most major structural protein which is present in the extracellular matrix. So, the most abundant protein which is present in the extracellular matrix is always a collagen. Collagen consists of a family of protein that is made up of 19 different members. There are 19 different members which are being involved and that lead to the formation of the protein that is referred to as collagen. Now, this collagen consists of 19 different members of tropocollagen molecules. Now, what are these tropocollagen molecules? Tropocollagen molecules are the constituents of collagen. कोलाजन का जो constituent होता है ना, उसका नाम है tropocollagen. The subunit of collagen is tropocollagen. Okay. Now, tropocollagen consists of three coiled polypeptide chain called as alpha helix. Each alpha helix is left-handedly coiled. Okay. Each alpha helix is left-handedly polypeptide helix, has 3.3 number of amino acid residue per helix, and they are wound. Three alpha helix are wounded one another in a characteristically right-handed triple helical structure. This is how it leads to the formation of a right-handed triple helical structure. This is very important. Please do listen here. There are three alpha helix. There is one alpha helix. There it would be another. Oh, sorry about this. I'll be taking the other. We can look here on the other side of the screen in Lippincott. You can look that there are three collagen molecules. There are three alpha helix shown in three different colors: the red, the blue, and the green. And the three alpha helix are wrapped around in left-handed direction. They are individually left-handed direction and are wrapped around each other in characteristically right-handed manner. Okay, this is what has been described here. Now, what is the next important point? Tropocollagen consists of three coiled polypeptide chains. Okay, so these are the three coiled polypeptide chains of the alpha helix. So hopefully you are able to recognize all these three different types of polypeptide chains. These are would be forming the structure of the collagen molecule. Okay, now there are regions where these collagen chains are not present. These are referred to as heavy staining in the region where gaps are present, light staining in the region where gaps are not present, and the collagen fibers appear striated. Collagen fiber appear striated in nature. Striated means that there are regions of dark banding, there are regions of light banding which are present, and those regions of light and dark banding indicates those regions of light and dark banding clearly indicates that there are regions in which there is no gap and there are regions where gap is present. So on the basis of the presence or absence of the gap, we can get the different striations over the collagen molecule. Okay. Now, next important thing. See, some of the students were asking me, sir, which book to be referred? Should Is Pathfinder efficient? See, Pathfinder is only a basic book. Whenever I'm teaching in classroom program, or I'm teaching in an online program or correspondence program, or even when I'm teaching at Pathfinder itself, this book is meant to be a revision book. This book is meant to be a primer book that you can read before reading a book like Leninger, Lippincott, or Stryer, or any other book. But you must at least have a standard reference book to be read, and until and unless you read those standard reference book, you won't be able to get that sufficient or adequate amount of knowledge to crack CSIR, IIT JAM, and other national level entrance examination. This book is a primary book. It's a good book, but it is not a complete book in every manner. Even Pranav sir himself says that this book is not a biochemistry. This book is a mixture of each and every subject. So we will be following Lippincott in biochemistry because firstly this is the simplest of all biochemistry books. Personally, I do think if you are an exhaustive reader, you must go with Leninger. If you want to read meaningful things, you just go with Stryer. And if you are crazy about biochemistry, you must go with Voigt and Voigt. And if you want to just pass in biochemistry, at least read U Satyanarayan, which is the worst book according to me. I didn't find that book of adequate standard. That is only for graduates, not for PG students. But in India, everything is allowed. So, well, we would be talking about Pathfinder and Lippincott. But your questions can be from Strad, Leninger. We can look at them in terms of questions. You can ask me anything from anywhere. Okay. Now, moving forward, there is a very important point which is given. The alpha helix, which is left-handed polypeptide helix, has 3.3 amino acid residue per turn. It has 3.3 number of amino acid residue per turn. Okay. So there are 3.3 number of amino acid residue per turn. What does this mean? This means that if you are going to make a turn in the case of alpha, now see this. Each turn means from here till here. This particular turn will consist of 3.3 number of amino acid per helical turn. Okay, this would be 3.3 number of amino acid per helical turn present within the structure of the collagen molecule. Again, moving back to Lippincott, you will get it in just a second. See, um, 3.3 number of alpha helix, number of amino acid per alpha helix is not given. No problem. Now see, this collagen can be of several different types. There are 19 different types of collagen molecules. They have been classified into three different types: type 1, type 2, and type 3. And these three different types, the type 1, type 2, and type 3, represent 90% of the collagen molecule. So the 90% of the collagen molecule is just being represented by the three types of collagen, and those are type 1 collagen, type 2, and type 3 collagen. Now, what is these types 1, type 2, and type 3 collagen? They differs in composition with regard to each other. तीनों का कंपोजिशन पता है अलग अलग होता है, इसलिए तीनों के नाम दिए गए हैं टाइप 1, टाइप 2 और टाइप 3. देखो यहाँ पर भी एक लाइन लिखी थी, कहाँ गया, where it is, see this, fiber forming collagen. There are two different types of collagen. One is referred to as fiber forming collagen, another one is referred to as network forming collagen. What do you mean by fiber forming collagen? Fiber forming collagen leads to the formation of fibers. Look at this structure. This is fiber forming collagen. It will lead to the formation of fibers. Okay, and look at this structure. This is the type 4 monomer, the complex forming collagen, the network forming collagen that has formed a particular network. So these are basically the two basic different types of collagen molecules that are found in our body. Now, what is the function of this fiber forming collagen? It leads to the formation of hairs in your body. Okay, so type 1, 2, and 3 are the collagen fibers that forms a rope-like structures described as collagen molecules. They will lead to the formation of different types of blood vesicles, durable tissues into blood vesicle, and develops high tensile strength. For example, the tendons which are present and the cornea, the type 1, 2, and 3 collagen, the fiber forming collagen is present. Okay, because the cornea, which is the cornea, the black portion of your eye, the tendons that are going to connect the bone to the muscles were referred to as tendons. Okay, so they have to be very effective in maintaining the body balance, क्योंकि tendons को पूरी body का balance maintain करके चलना होता है, तो उनके अंदर fiber forming collagen होते हैं जो बहुत ही specific होते हैं, and they lead to the formation of fibers. Now there is another type of collagen that is referred to as network forming collagen. Network forming collagen is present in the basement membrane beneath stratified squamous epithelium. देखो इस किताब की एक और खास बात मैं आपको बताता हूँ. There is something special in Lippincott that you get everything in a particular chart. The entire page would be summarized in a particular chart, and the entire chapter will be summarized in a particular page. जैसे ये chapter खत्म हो जाएगा ना, when this chapter is going to be over, then why I do like this particular book is this, because of this particular page. See this chapter summary. The entire chapter is being summarized into 5 to 10 lines. Okay, and there is a single page which describes the entire chapter, and the chapter is finished. Okay, so every chapter in this book is being described in this particular manner that makes this book very special and very easy to understand. So that is why I'm recommending this particular book to you all. You have this book in your WhatsApp group. For any type of purchase of any book or any material, you just always WhatsApp me on personal terms. Okay, that would be fine. Now, network forming collagen, type 4 and type 5 or type 7 collagens forms three-dimensional structure, and they lead to the formation of a structure or a sheet or meshwork that consists of a major portion of the basement membrane. Okay, now what is a basement membrane? Basement membrane is a membrane present over the bones, over which all the body tissues lies. Okay, basement membrane is a thin sheet-like structure that provides mechanical support to adjacent cell, function as semi-permeable filtration barrier to macromolecules in organs such as kidney and lungs. So kidney and lungs, they are going to perform specific functions. Okay, now fibril associated collagen. There are other different types of collagen. Those are not at all interesting. Now, amino acid sequence. The collagen consists of 3 amino acid residues. Each alpha helix which is present in the form of, each alpha chain is present in the form of an alpha helix. The presence of proline dictates that the helical conformation of the alpha helix cannot be an alpha chain cannot be an alpha helix. So proline is the one that will disrupt the alpha helix. We always know that. But what happens here is that the glycine residue are a part of repeating tri amino acid chain, that is glycine X and Y. X is hydroxyproline and Y is hydroxylysine. Okay, you can look and the Pathfinder, it's very beautifully described that amino acid sequence which is present in the alpha chain consists of a repeating tripeptide unit, and those are glycine X and Y. X is proline or hydroxyproline, Y is hydroxyproline or hydroxylysine. So you can find that the most abundant amino acid which is present in the structure of alpha helix is the glycine. Glycine constitute approximately 1/3 of the amino acid residue. It is the one that constitute 1/3 of the amino acid residue. Okay, so 1/3 of the amino acid residue is just made up of glycine. Okay, proline and hydroxyproline confer rigidity on the collagen molecule, whereas there are other structures. One is referred to as proline, another one is referred to as hydroxyproline. Both of these confer rigidity to collagen molecules. Hydroxylation is carried out during post-translational modification by two different enzymes. Now, how does hydroxyproline and hydroxylysine are being produced? There are two other enzymes that function in this hydroxylation. One is prolyl hydroxylase, another one is referred to as lysyl hydroxylase. Now, what is this prolyl hydroxylase? What is this lysyl hydroxylase enzyme? And how it causes the hydroxylation? And why this hydroxylation? Okay, why this hydroxylation? Okay, D. Okay, so we have to study why this hydroxylation is important. Hydroxylation is important to stabilize the structure of protein. Okay, why this collaborativity? Why this hydroxylation at hydroxyproline and hydroxylysine? Okay, why this hydroxylation? Because this hydroxylation lead to the formation of a complex structure of collagen. Okay, they will lead to the formation of complex structure of collagen, stabilizing the helical structure. You always know that in proteins, what are proteins? Proteins are linear unbranched structure of alpha amino acid residue joined together by peptide bond. Then how these three chains are going to interact with each other and forms helical conformation? By protein तो linear unbranched polymer है. प्रोटीन अगर अनब्रांच पॉलीमर है तो ये तीनों चेन आपस में इंटरेक्ट करके ऐसे ब्रांचिंग क्यों बना रही हैं? क्योंकि तीनों के बीच में है हाइड्रोजन बॉन्डिंग. देयर इज अ बॉन्ड, द नेम इज बॉन्ड. which bond? Hydrogen bond. There is hydrogen bonding present in between the polypeptide chain. So these hydrogen bonding stabilizes the structure of the collagen molecule. Okay, so they would be stabilized with the hydrogen bonding, and hydrogen bonding takes place because of the presence of two enzymes, prolyl hydroxylase and lysyl hydroxylase. Now, how does these enzymes act? That we have to see. Now, this prolyl hydroxylase and lysyl hydroxylase are specific enzymes that causes hydroxylation. Now, see this. This is the hydroxylation reaction that is going to take place. This is proline residue. As I told you, how to remember proline? How to remember proline? You just make a temple. Okay, you just make a temple. Sorry, I must clear this drawing. You just have to make a particular temple. Now, how to make a temple? Okay, this would be a particular temple. Okay, and you make a window in a temple. Okay, if temple always possesses windows. Okay, and you make this temple. Okay, and then you put a flag over this temple, and the flag is COO negative. This is how you put a flag over the temple. Okay, see this, the flag over the temple indicating COOH group. See this, there would be COOH group, and that group is present here. It has been bounded, and this is the NH. This is the NH group which has been bounded. What remains here is CH2. This CH2 undergoes hydroxylation in the presence of the enzyme Prolyl hydroxylase, the most important enzyme which is present here, prolyl hydroxylase. This enzyme requires certain cofactors. Now, please listen. This is very, very important. Which are the cofactors which are required? Oxygen, alpha ketoglutarate, as well as this is a metalloenzyme, so require iron, as well as require ascorbate. So there are four cofactors which are required by prolyl hydroxylase. प्रोलिल हाइड्रोक्सिलेज जब काम करेगा जब ऑक्सीजन भी हो, अल्फा कीटोग्लूटरेट भी हो, एस्कॉर्बेट भी हो और आयरन भी हो. अगर इन चारों में से कोई नहीं मिलेगा ना तो प्रोलिल हाइड्रोक्सिलेज काम नहीं करेगा. If any of the four different component is absent, whether it is oxygen or alpha ketoglutarate or ascorbate or iron, the prolyl hydroxylase enzyme is not going to work. There would be no hydroxylation. When there would be no hydroxylation, there will be no binding in the structure of collagen molecule. See this collagen molecule binding in the case of alpha helix is taking place because of hydrogen bonding. Probably Pranav sir could have described this much better. Okay, he has not described. No, sorry, he has not described. Probably in the new book you will find the diagram. Okay. Now this is how the hydrogen bonding stabilizes the structure, and there are four side groups which are of utmost important. Again, CSIR has asked the question twice or thrice. Which are the cofactors required for prolyl hydroxylase? Oxygen, alpha ketoglutarate, ascorbate, and ferric ion. Now ascorbic acid. The absence of ascorbic acid, that is vitamin C, leads to a disease, and that is referred to as scurvy. Now, do you can remember what happens in the case of scurvy? In the case of scurvy, the bones, the teeth began to fall off from the jaw. खाना खाओगे तो खाना खाया, सेब चबाया, सेब के अंदर टीथ रह गया और सेब बाहर निकल आया. ठीक है, so if you are chewing apple, your teeth will fall under in the apple or by itself. Okay, so this is a disease that is referred to as scurvy. In the case of scurvy, the collagen molecules are highly unstable, caused due to absence of a cofactor of prolyl hydroxylase enzyme. And do you know which is that cofactor? That cofactor is ascorbate. The absence of this particular cofactor leads to inactivity of prolyl hydroxylase. If ascorbate will be absent, then what is going to happen? Prolyl hydroxylase will not work. Then what will happen? Proline will not be hydroxylated. There would be no effective structure of collagen molecule. When there would be no effective structure of collagen molecule, collagen will not be there, and our body will not function effectively, leading to falling of teeth, leading to wasting of muscles, leading to skin beginning to hang from the bones, and ultimately leading to death. But scurvy can also be caused due to absence of alpha ketoglutarate, oxygen, as well as iron molecule. The next question which was being asked in CSIR, what will happen if alpha ketoglutarate level decreases in the body? The prolyl hydroxylase enzyme or the lysyl hydroxylase enzyme will inhibit its function. Okay, now moving back to Pathfinder. Okay, sorry, clearing all the drawings. Moving back to Pathfinder. See this. Ascorbic acid, vitamin C act as a cofactor for these enzymes, hence is essential for hydroxylation of protein and lysine residue. Only problem with Pathfinder, they have described just ascorbic acid and have forgotten to describe alpha ketoglutarate, oxygen, as well as iron molecules. Okay, hydroxylation result in the formation of interchain hydrogen bond, stabilizing the structure of collagen molecule. And if deficiency of ascorbic acid takes place, then it will lead to the disease that is referred to as scurvy. Okay, it occurs due to impaired synthesis of collagen as a result of deficiency of proline and lysyl hydroxylase. Now, which are the cells which are present in our body which leads to the biosynthesis of collagen molecule? Now you can understand the structure of the most important molecule, the most important organ present in the body that is responsible for catalyzing the process of circulation, and that organ is referred to as the human heart, also referred to as the myocardium. Now human heart or the myocardium consists of three different layers. Which are the three different layers? One is referred to as the epicardium, mesocardium, and endocardium. Okay, there are three different layers which are present. I'm going to find a good diagram for you all. Okay, so probably I have done that. We can look at an structure. Sorry, if I can save image. Just a second. We are going to share an image with you. Oh, sorry. Where do I got this particular image? No problem. I'm resuming this. I got the image. Just a minute. We can share the image with you all. Okay. Now see, this is the image of human heart. The human heart consists of three different layers that you can visualize here. Okay. One is referred to as the epicardium. Epicardium, the outer surface of the heart. The second is referred to as myocardium, the middle layer, and the third one is referred to as the endocardium, the innermost layer. It is this endocardium that contains the highest amount of collagen molecules. And these collagen molecules are being biosynthesized by specialized cells called as fibroblast cells. 2018 question paper of ICMR has asked which cells leads to the biosynthesis of collagen. The cells are fibroblast cells in the endocardium that leads to the biosynthesis of collagen molecules. Again, moving back to Pathfinder. Okay, so basically what has been told is that fibroblast cells, fibroblast cells are responsible for the biosynthesis of collagen in heart, because heart has to effectively pump, so there would be a very large wear and shear of the heart muscles, क्योंकि देखो heart लगातार work करता है, because heart has to work constantly, so there would be wear and shear of the heart muscles, so heart muscles will be lost at an alarming rate. And to prevent the loss of those heart muscles, what has to be done? We are going to synthesize the collagen at a very high rate in heart with the help of certain cells called as the fibroblasts. Now, how this cross-linking takes place in the case of collagen? Now, there is another enzyme that is present. This is not lysine hydroxylase. There were two different enzymes, prolyl hydroxylase and lysine hydroxylase. Both these enzymes catalyzes the hydroxylation of proline to proline hydroxylase, lysine to lysine hydroxylase. Now, cross-linkaging of collagen. How does the three collagen molecules are being cross-linked with regard to each other? Supposingly, there is one collagen, there is another collagen molecules which is present. Okay, there is another structural collagen. I'm taking three different colors. Okay, sorry. And the other third color. Okay, so those are the three different colored collagen. So this is a beautiful diagram that I have drawn. Okay, now the three different collagens are there. Okay, not so beautiful. Thank you. So there are three different types of collagen molecules which are present. The three different chains of collagen molecules, and they are being cross-linked with regard to each other. How they are being cross-linked? With the help of formation of a specialized structure, and that structure which is being produced here is referred to as the aldol cross-link. How does aldol cross-link is being produced? What happens in the production of aldol cross-link? Okay, in the formation of aldol cross link, what we are going to do is that there are two lysine residues which are present, and these lysine residue gets converted into another amino acid, that is a lysine. Lysine, the amino group, is getting converted into an aldehyde group, and this group would be referred to as a lysine. Lysine getting converted into a lysine. The two a lysine residues are combined together, leading to the formation of an aldol cross-linked structure. You can look here. This is the aldol cross-linked structure that has been produced. The aldol cross-linked structure that has been produced here, you can see that this structure will undergo, this structure itself will undergo what? This structure itself will undergo resonance stabilization because it has electron pair present on the oxygen molecule as well as an altered double bond is present. So this will lead to the formation of a cross-linked collagen molecule. Such type of structures will be present at a specialized position where the three collagen molecules are going to bind. This part where these three collagen molecules have been bounded, that will contain such type of structures. And this is aldol cross-link that has been produced. Lysine getting converted into a lysine getting linked together, leading to the formation of aldol cross-link. Now, which are the questions which are being asked and how the questions are being asked from this particular part? Because this particular part is very important. There is a dal, there are sweet peas, मीठे मटर, आप लोगों ने सुने होंगे मीठे मटर. Now these sweet peas are being used in at the time of marriages and other places they are being made. Now these sweet pea also referred to as Lathyrus odoratus. Now see this, sorry, Lathyrus, there is a khesri dal or Lathyrus sativa. Okay, another member of Lathyrus family, because you knew Lathyrus odoratus, the sweet pea, मीठे मटर, उसके जैसे ही एक दाल होती है that is called as खेसरी दाल, also referred to as Lathyrus sativa, contains a chemical called as beta amino propionitrile. Beta, I cannot use the symbol for beta, so I can draw it like this. Beta, okay, this is beta. Sorry, beta amino propionitrile. I will have to undo that. Beta amino called as, just a minute, called as beta amino propionitrile. Beta amino propionitrile. Now what happens with this beta amino propionitrile? Khesri dal or Lathyrus sativa, another member of Lathyrus family, contains a chemical called as beta amino propionitrile. Very, very, very important chemical. Now what happens with this particular chemical is that this chemical inhibits the lysyl oxidase enzyme. I am worst at spelling, so please do avoid that. Enzyme, please do excuse me out for that. Beta amino propionitrile, this chemical inhibits the lysyl oxidase enzyme, thus will inhibit the formation of cross links in the structure of collagen. Okay, so the structure of collagen, cross links in the structure of collagen will not be produced. If there are stabilized structure of collagen that are not being produced, then what is going to happen? Then the collagen will not be stabilized. Okay, so this stabilization in the structure of collagen is essentially required. Supposingly these cross links are not being produced, then what will happen? Collagen will not be stable. If the collagen will not be stable, then what is going to happen? Again, the muscle wastage will take place. The bone weakening will take place. In the older age also, this lysyl oxidase enzyme inhibits its function. And in the older age, that is why the bones are much more susceptible to breakage as compared to that of young ones. Any question? देखो खेसरी दाल में होता है बीटा अमीनो प्रोपियोनाइट्राइल. ये जो बीटा अमीनो प्रोपियोनाइट्राइल है ना, ये इनहिबिटर है. किसका इनहिबिटर है? इस एंजाइम का, लाइसिल ऑक्सीडेज का. ये वो एंजाइम है जिसका इनहिबिटर है. और ये जो लाइसिल ऑक्सीडेज है ना, ये अगर चला गया ना तो लाइसिन ए लाइसिन में कन्वर्ट नहीं होगा. ए लाइसिन कभी भी एल्डोल क्रॉस लिंक नहीं बनाएगा, और एल्डोल क्रॉस लिंक नहीं बना तो कोलाजन भी नहीं बना. कोलाजन भी नहीं बना तो मसल क्या हो जाएंगी? वेस्ट हो जाएंगी. मसल्स काम ही नहीं कर पाएंगी, इफेक्टिव मसल्स की फंक्शनिंग नहीं होगी. ओके, डू दिस इज क्लियर टू यू ऑल? If someone has any query, please ask me, because this is going to be really tough. Okay, nobody is asking anything. Probably nobody knows what is being taught. Okay, so well, I will have to rub everything because we have to move forward. Anything if you want to ask, you can always ask me. Okay. Now moving forward, this is all about the structure of collagen. That and there are so many number of questions which are being asked. The intramolecular crossing of collagen involves the formation of unique hydroxypyridinium structure from one lysine and two hydroxylysine. So actually, this structure which is being produced is referred to as hydroxypyridinium structure, and this will be produced when one lysine and two allyl residues are being bounded with respect to aldol cross link, and it will lead to the formation of a structure that is referred to as the formation of unique hydroxypyridinium structure. The formation of unique hydroxypyridinium structure involves formation of bonds in between one lysine and two hydroxyl lysine residue. Now, how does these collagen molecules are being produced? Collagen are produced in the lumen of the rough endoplasmic reticulum. They are being produced in the lumen of rough endoplasmic reticulum. Okay. Hydroxylation takes place in the endoplasmic reticulum. Glycosylation takes place in the Golgi body. Then there is collagen, procollagen formation, exocytosis, tropocollagen, collagen linked together and form aggregates of fibers. Ultimately, there are fibrous-like structures of collagen molecules which are being produced, and these are the fiber-like structures. Okay, I'm not very good at drawing. I'm just removing this out. Okay, so there are fiber-like structures of collagen molecules which are being produced. Now, moving forward, there comes the next protein that is referred to as the elastin protein. Okay, but before that, we have to note something from Lippincott. Okay, there is the triple helical structure, hydroxylation. How does hydroxylation takes place? You have to note this figure in your Pathfinder. Now, see this. This is what is being described in Pathfinder without any diagram, because Pranav sir has taken the theory from this particular book. So DNA getting converted into mRNA, mRNA getting converted into proteins. Now, how does this mRNA is getting converted into protein? Ribosomes causing the protein biosynthesis, and then hydroxylation is going to take place. Hydroxyl serine, hydroxyl lysine are being produced. देखो DNA से RNA, mRNA से प्रोटीन, प्रोटीन का हो गया हाइड्रोक्सिलेशन, और हाइड्रोक्सिलेशन के बाद में बन गया स्ट्रक्चर किसका? कोलाजन का. कोलाजन बाहर चला गया, बन गए डाइसल्फाइड बॉन्ड, एंड दिस इज हाउ कोलाजन इज बीइंग प्रोड्यूस्ड. ओके, continued from previous page, and collagen is being deposited, and then hydroxylation takes place. Now, supposingly, if this collagen is not effectively found, vitamin C deficiency takes place, then what will happen? Then it will lead to the formation of a disease, scurvy. See, this is how blood loss is taking place. Blood loss is taking place from the different cuts in the body. Body के अंदर जहां पर भी joint होगा ना, there would be cuts that would be reflected, and from them the blood will ooze out. Wherever there is a joint, the cuts will form in the entire body, and the blood will ooze out of those cuts. This type of disease is scurvy. Okay, now please look here, and this is all what we have studied. Now see this. Lysyl oxidase is actually a copper containing enzyme. Okay, so if this is also a metalloenzyme, lysyl oxidase is also a metalloenzyme. Lysyl hydroxylase is also a sorry, why this has not been highlighted? Let me look. This has not been highlighted. Okay, now it has been highlighted. So whenever you are talking about lysyl oxidase, lysyl hydroxylase, prolyl hydroxylase, all those are metalloenzymes in nature. As all of them are metalloenzymes in nature, so what has to be studied is that they all get inhibited in the presence of EDTA, because you know that EDTA is a chelating agent. So EDTA is a chelating agent. It will chelate out all the metal ions and will inhibit the functioning of collagen molecules. Okay, this is how lysyl oxidase act to a lysine residue and a lysine residue, leading to the formation of hydroxypyridinium structure. Now see this. Lysyl oxidase is one of the several copper containing enzymes. Other include this. Disruption in copper homeostasis causes copper deficiency disease, which is also referred to as linked Menkes disease, also referred to as Wilson disease. There are diseases in which there is an copper deficiency, and copper deficiency leads to the disease that is referred to as Wilson disease, also referred to as X-linked Menkes disease. Okay. Then there is degeneracy of the collagen. There is another disease that could take place. Now, this is referred to as Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. This syndrome is the one in which the skin can be made to move above the hand, and then you just leave your hand like this, and the skin will fall over your other hand. This disease takes place in the absence of certain enzymes. That is, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome can be a result as a deficiency of collagen processing enzyme called as lysyl hydroxylase or procollagenase or peptidase. If there is lysyl hydroxylase which is genetically inhibited, there is prolyl hydroxylase which is genetically inhibited, then it will lead to the deficiency. These deficiency of these enzymes will lead to a disease called as Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. Okay, this is Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. See, the skin can be moved out. Okay. Now, moving forward, this disorder is being generated because of the deficiency of these enzymes. Okay. Moving forward, the last disorder, osteogenesis imperfecta. As I was telling you, that what happens in the case of osteogenesis imperfecta is that the bones become highly fragile in older age. When there are deficiencies, or in older age, or when there are deficiencies of the lysyl oxidase or lysyl hydroxylase enzyme, then what is going to happen? Then the bones will become brittle, and the bones could be effectively degraded. If the bones are going to be effectively degraded, then such type of disease which is being produced is referred to as osteogenesis imperfecta. Okay. So that's all for today, for this collagen molecule. Sorry, this is the structure that is being produced. Okay. Now, this osteogenesis imperfecta also leads to humped back, also referred to as kyphosis, जिसे हम कुबड़ापन कहते हैं. कुछ persons होते हैं ना old age में, बेटा आप लोगों ने देखा होगा that in old age there are certain person who have a bented back, whose back used to bend. That is because of kyphosis. That is because of humped back. Are common feature of the disease. In this disease, there is humped back which is going to take place. The person, you would have imagined some old lady or an old male of 80 to 90 years of age, their back is being curved, and that is referred to as humped back, also referred to as kyphosis. That disease is also because of inability to biosynthesize collagen molecule effectively. So this is all about collagen molecule. We have finished collagen molecule. Now we have to start the elastin molecule. That what is this elastin and how does this elastin molecule work? So we'll be starting elastin tomorrow, but here's all, because I would be going in great details in this particular part. So can we increase the timing a bit more? Can we have 2 classes instead of 1 of 45 minutes? So I will send a new schedule to you. The classes timing will be same, will be from 7:30 or 8, and it would be up till 9:30 or 10 o'clock. Okay, so I will assume my 2 classes daily from tomorrow. So basically be prepared for that, and at least read Pathfinder as well as Lippincott for elastin and collagen, as both of these will be finished tomorrow. So that's all for today. If you have any query, you can post it to me on the WhatsApp group, or you can always comment to me. You can also ask here also. Okay, sir. Okay, thank you. I will discuss about that. And I have to meet other students who are preparing for their masters. Those students should personally WhatsApp it to me, because there are some issues with chemistry that has to be resolved. Okay, thank you. Good night.